Hello, this is regarding Connecticut roles with election crimes and election crime methods that are demonstrably interstates, intercities, all victim predator roles, especially regarding how we have a whole bunch of nations that don't even like each other. There and here also using psychology, what is it called? Mental diagnosis to pretend to forge names, switch names and sequences with various natures of courts, attaching kids to fake locations through time, fake relationships to doctors, into databases, and they're exploiting that with all kinds of. There already been all kinds of evidence, racketeering acts, roles, and cases already. We're all value treatments where words are valued and how. See, this is forgiveness is for this is regarding this nature of organized crime that is using the human fact treatment nature, is preventing, is recorded preventing the the impositions of fake care and of physical delusions and of pseudoscience of criminally foreign influence fact treatment nature involved with the most serious impositions forced sustained upon areas because we haven't had free speech. And this is related to everyone's means. This is preventing everyone from realizing all the means we have, especially while we still have means to machinery. See, we have a tactically denatured relationship to nature by a breaching organized crime method that knew that this would cause negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. That everyone would have, that each branch would have to stay roles reacting to, needing to blame the causes of it on other things and others themselves, needing to tie it to overt criminal enterprises, while it was really them, their roles with criminally foreign influence, though, but by remotely being used for sustained to each area. This is the maintained outcome. Shock and awe. So we have Wethersfield mayors, former mayor Gold. We have new mayors. I don't even know the names of these people involved with a whole bunch of people with a Fianza family, involved lying to the family members of kids about the crime methods they're doing here, attaching kids to fake locations, spreading lies through the kids with overt criminal enterprises right through the youngest kids. This is the same organized crime method that is doing the same thing, sickly distinctly, but the same, also sickly non-distinctly with the urban areas. They're also the same ones involved with that, pretending not to realize by pretending to be against racism in charged ways so they can prevent demonstration of free speech. So they can keep all with roles to collusion making opinions about the value of the convictions of others. They're pretending we have theories they can prevent mandated law and sequence shifts in federal crime acts with databases from being demonstrated. These are people that force people to make in a sustained way sustained confessions and demonstrations of offensive styles of liars pretending they're positive. That which is just standard. It's nothing personal, so no one notices it. Everyone liars. When you're young, when people say that they're having a conversation going through with undercover training, they have a conversation that's used to keep them criminally foreign influenced. Now we have two Mendez police. We have a whole bunch of police forms interbranch, a whole bunch of police forms associated with the Britain Superior Court, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Even victim advocates are crimes with child sex offenders and medical offenders and judicial offenders with a Kerr family, with a DeMauro family, especially with Facebook uses, with Joshua Julian, also with crimes with the name Joshua Stryker is also involved. But these are the people also all federal crimes with a house in my area that was criminally involved with the campuses databases when I was a kid there. Now these are people also a whole bunch of people on and off the Fox Connecticut News with the police forms and with the shared ownerships and clubbing people associated with this Detective Dillon and with Enzo Fienzo, recorded and confessed involved and demonstrated involved with federal crimes with WFSB. I mean, he doesn't know the extent of the confessions demonstrated about his family involved. I don't know him. And his cousin recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved criminally with a whole bunch of other people with them on off Two Rod Highway and Hangdog Lane. Whole bunch of people associated with um, a Sal Saviola recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crimes with the CIA, with the Leahy family, and with drugs, with a whole bunch of criminal justice people associated with Rick Chamfayone and his family members, associated crimes with an O'Brien family, also with Sandy Hook, Newtown people and fire departments, cliques and stuff on off these campus locations, even fire departments, even prison cliques, especially prison cliques, because those prisons are recorded, confessed, involved with their child offenders crimes before they have them in there, even their doctors. Real sick delusions, raw punk fakes. We, there's a difference between needing to have people with titles, needing to have experts on things, and pretending not to realize them being used criminally. So we have to clear out the criminal uses of the forensics lab associated with the people involved in my area with the FBI criminally, and with the CIA criminally with the witness protection program, and recorded crime acts methods with webmail crimes and wire crimes, stacking crime acts roles like WFSB, whole bunch of name stacking. While they're forcing sustained, they're making kids cry and stuff like that, lying about people's behavior. You know, they're not letting uh, they're not letting fake care and fake righteous justice. They're having their kids pretend they're family members, especially ones associated with the prisons. There's a Jerry Kerr too, and there's a Jerry Miller also involved, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated further involved with them crimes and with the state's attorney's office. These are people criminal uses of lawyers per crime methods that make fake sides of correlation nature because the courts are preventing mandated law. They're trying to make everyone seem they're forcing everyone to have sustained differences so they could have so they could settle it or they could keep exploiting it with the areas because they're going to settle it wrong because the courts are preventing mandated law. They're the ones who recorded involved with the overt criminal enterprises distinctly and non-distinctly from everyone else involved with them. And see, they're sequence shifting and collusion that way. They have they have Los Solitos with Italian organized crime groups associated with the same houses in my area with the former director of the FBI down. Crime acts with his federal criminals. Criminal uses of the witness protection program. These are people tied to crimes further recorded and confessed with the child sex offenders within as cliques associated with forensics labs since I was a kid involved with them criminally. Now they're involved with a Middletown forensics place, and they have a like a various natures of courts and their family members involved foreign and domestic criminal uses of these places, of database relationships, of quality of fact treatment nature, prevented free speech, prevented religious freedom, especially how they pretend not to realize with experts who are forging names and switching names in drug crime roles. They have worse than cruel and unusual punishment, having federal criminals in collusion with their prisons, cliques, and doctors since before they got caught, and with the courts, drug cliques involved criminally before they got caught. All different motivations, natures, needs, and roles of other natures of federal crimes. Wrongdoings roles associated with predicate acts, cliques, mail crimes, whole bunch of federal predicate acts associated with a Leahy family, and with Wethersfield police recorded and confessed involved forging names, switching names with them. And then they do tricks like coming up to you with your house with a whole bunch of names, a whole bunch of people, so they make it more complicated because there's more names. So then if you try to call, they'll lie about what's actually recorded. These are people with my new and past neighbors, demonstrated, recorded, confessed by their real estate agent, by themselves, and demonstrated involved with their real estate agent, Anna Dillon, and a Kevin Dillon recorded, confessed, demonstrated by a whole bunch of people, and him non-verbally. The only time I ever saw him in life was right after other people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. In other words, I had no verbal conversation, but he demonstrated he's evolved with a whole bunch of natures of evidential racketeering and of identity thefts, crimes with a whole bunch of people with New Britain Superior Court retired and standing, a whole bunch of people on and off the state judicial branch retired and standing, a whole bunch of people associated with Wethersfield Pizza retired and standing, a whole bunch of people associated with right before the bridge, there's an Oliveri family house. Oliveri, and it's associated, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with a whole bunch of people involved with UPS. Other identity of the ground locations used to keep criminally foreign influence stewards there and here. And they do it by ducking behind. There's a quality of fact treatment nature maintained where they would never entertain private value treatments at the directors of the FBI level that they do without simultaneous natures of impositions in relationship to nuclear weapons, in relationship to the kind of things that could be biological hazard threats, where people could get their hands on that. But threats where the people who have to counter that are used to further such other natures of crimes, because now they're giving means to identity of the ground relationship roles with opinions on things. They're using boxing. They're using the identity of each location, kept each individual department, criminally foreign influence, delusions wrought, victim predators, though, incapable of handling evidential treatment that you use in correlation nature itself, actual correlation nature, true, not denying exception nature use roles with it. So free speech, because we have online, then they have theater recorded, used to pretend, they're pretending sensibilities. They have an organized crime method, a method consciously criminally used, pretending and having coaching to pretend online platforms, the policing of people, their reactions to what other people say when they try to counter, everyone forced to speak through other people. The extent of that is what kept and keeps criminally foreign influence states and areas, sciences, campus relationships, group fact treatment nature, live progression cover-ups, live progression cover-up nature. That's why everyone everyone says everything's complicated. Everything's not complicated. This nature knows itself. We just have to release. We have to just the answers show that we have criminally foreign influence zoning laws. We have a criminally crime methods, self-valued, exploited identity, the relationship to the ground, to our quality of fact, treatment nature vile, exploited, all pseudo-positive. We have all punks making opinions. Then if you try to fight with it, it's too multi-front. So they're controlling aggression with sick people. Little creepy, even little creepy child offenders. You can't even call them names. They're racketeering involved. Medical child offenders associated with the same ones, like this Yagman family, like this, what's his name? What's their names? There's even one. There are a few brothers and their family members and people intercities associated with Justice Department rackets with the Pandolf family and with houses associated on and off the Samuel Dix house, Church Street, and all Weatherfield up to that spot. like goes by the mobile gas station, goes by an old town cafe, also recorded, confessed, involved federal crimes with people tied to the four federal criminals of the co-defendants of former director of the FBI, leading up to it in a 2006 case with him criminally, leading up to it, and then other cases with them with people tied associated with them criminally. They even used they told lies to my family they tell lies to the family members of kids in relationship to where they're exploiting shadows of where experts are getting over hiding lie progressions. They're indifferent to little trick. They're even smiling about it, where they have child sex offender crime acts roles, especially if they made it up because they have rape threats. They have little punks with the military that are in the background needing to pretend integrity, to pretend toughness, to pretend worth that they can't pretend normally. Uh, Anyone from my town who denies this, who was pretending to know me in the background in the military, the Navy, I'll I'll fight them whatever style you want. But if you want that too, but at least give me response for their roles with the narratives, with the judges involved. See, because these are also people, whole bunch of people with Two Rod Highway, Hang Dog Lane involved with database crimes through time, wire crimes with AT&T clicks. Again, former director of the FBI down. Their narratives with the Yale, what's going on at Yale right now, with the shooting reported by the officer, with the shooting reported by the officer in Wethersfield. Both of those narratives have those networks and their police sources and their judicial sources involved with a whole bunch of racketeering crime acts and roles and uses of database clicks ties on and off the FBI and New Haven criminally involved. We have physical delusions involved into the branches as well. And they have sensibilities that are preventing that from being voiced because they're taking it personal criminally. Because that's why it's important to have them follow the mandated law when we ask calmly to have counters to them forging names, switching names. This is interbranch in collusion. They already used houses in my area to pretend to perceive things. That was already facilitated. They're all victim predators, but now they're stuck all kinds of ways. So there are a whole bunch of medical families associated with the uses of the identities of the agencies and their family members involved, and then their awareness of how they could know about the other ones' locations, so they could give that up like overtly, like with this Kelly Kazmierek, associated with people with both ends of the corners of the witness of the child offenders campus, further involved with the judges and prosecutors, a whole bunch of people associated with them, victims advocates, a whole bunch of people associated them through time. Crime is attaching little kids to fake locations. The victim advocates have crime acts rules forcing quality of fact sheet nature for anything but free speech. They're pretending not to realize sequence shifts, all kinds of natures of crime acts rules force sustained on kids too, from right through. But it's so everyone's gonna each person as a victim, everyone they want to follow life without racketeering, influenced confessions, sustained, demonstrated, recorded, actually recorded. See, what they're doing is putting fake things in databases, and they're making that self-value through a crime method by each age of factory manager. Through time, interbranch family members and prison cliques associated with them, intercampuses like CCS is a criminal justice campus. Wesleyan College associated with criminal justice, teaching undercover, foreign and domestic shared policing, and of private like prisons. These are also intermilitary, physical delusions, criminally foreign influence roles with a whole bunch of nations with psychology, with mental diagnosis. They're out of their minds. We have experts pretending that they have the right to be an expert to use that as crimes. Oh, because they're expert, we can do it. No, you're supposed to be an expert, should be qualified to counter things that they're furthering. They don't have the integrity. I don't have to study to know that if you're attaching people to your physical delusions, and to fake, you're attaching kids and their family members to fake conversations, fake locations, fake relationships to others. You have a problem. You also have a problem because these are also people that are with the WFSB and crimes with this child defenders, fake news with the New Britain Superior Court, a whole bunch of people associated further with houses in my area, criminally involved with the forensics labs, and with the body stone dumping spot of Billy Grasso, and with people involved further with that recorded even with their family members. Connecticut Lighting, timed uses of their commercials. ILO's Kitchen, and he's got a tile shop, and people associated on off campuses, intercity, involved criminally with them. A whole bunch of people associated with the Sclora family with identity theft with them. I barely know him. He pretended also tied to confessions associated with the corners of the street of the principal child offender, and how they have Russians involved with this with them criminally. And they're victim predators. They're here because they're maintaining roles that keep uses of especially psychology rackets involved with the interbranch racketeering natures, and how it kept originally still. A whole bunch of people associated with the forensics crime acts, cliques with Middletown and stuff like that, and state police in the area, and on off CCSU criminally facilitated crimes through time, and with their family members involved. Also with the forensics labs, with judges through time, with police forms through time. Former director of FBI down. I'll gather around. WFSB also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they have retired and standing judges and police forms associated with them, and with their roles with locations next to them tied to the sustained crimes with crime acts roles, racketeering roles with CCSU involved with them. And this is how we're going to proceed, because I've been begging for a free speech. They won't let me use calm language. They're lying about my language. They're attaching me to fake words. They're pretending things are recorded. Two Mendez police recorded and confessed racketeering acts roles with Weathersfield police since they were kids, and with outside of the Britain Superior Court, illusion stacking clicks through time. They put him there to see if I would shake his hand, pretend that would mean something. They implied criminally. In other words, because they also have me attached to a fake recorded conversation with his brother, the Janito Mendez, also with a whole bunch of other officers forging names, switching names, mail crimes, drug crime roles with kids, database crimes when I was a kid, roles facilitated, recorded. They should have reported what I recorded with the marijuana and with the confessions regarding the overt criminal enterprises associated with the people that with the houses next to my school involved crimes with judges, and with the Weathersfield police chief's family. I find things out of context because every time they talk, they lie, and that tells truths. These are people that lie to others, and they pretend others are lying at the same time. They're doing it. They're doing a shock and awe to the president because they're involved with Mueller crimes recorded. Because former director of the FBI is involved with these racketeering crime acts with them since before Mueller. He was the former standing chairperson of RICO Law. He was a former chairperson of the FBI. See, we have misprision identity defense of the FBI. That is a defense of a breaching screen and tool. Each branch a fool. Here, attend. Call Campus Marziz, call WFSB admits to extortion method roles acts in natures preventing free speech while they stack natures of federal crimes against people. So the natures of identity theft, crime acts roles, they facilitate everyone to. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated using the crime method of pretending to be against behavior online so they could, as a means to hide their racketeering from and themselves from mandated law. And they recorded, confessed, and demonstrating refusing roles, refusing kids and people of each age in sustained ways through whole lifetimes counters to identity thefts and to racketeering acts with the databases associated wherever they go. I know CT must fall. Now build the wall. So WFSB is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles with military and with foreign and domestic associated with West Farms Mall, with the shared policing on off locations with entrances to the highway near the West Farms Mall, with religious spots there, uses of on-off parks, cliques in West Hartford that are federal crime acts roles with on-off campuses and parks in Wethersfield. Same things with they even had they facilitated the Wethersfield. They facilitated the networks to have softball against each other. So for their racketeering crime acts roles through and uses of Millwoods Park. These are people with racketeering with child offenders, with doctors, recorded and confessed racketeering roles with various natures of courts and their family members, and people that work with their courts, how facilitated to it and their family members. Uses of identity to ground from that. Counter the sustained rackets here. Let's go. Racketeering. Not even law. I'll show you how. It's recorded actually. Well, I'll show you how to make proper evidential reception. I'll show you what research and how research that word is being influenced on a mass scale by mass roles. Everyone speaks.